This students, it is the third video for the week second, and the discussion point is how to communicate with your development team or IT professionals. Fine. In the previous video we talked about that how we can communicate with the IT people, people related to software engineering, and people residing at the distant remote areas, and they are likely to work for you. Find how you can communicate them constantly and properly. In this video we are going to talk about some other related issues regarding the technical aspects of software development, the common terms and expressions used in the software development. The very first thing is the importance of setting your expectations. Remember this, that not just in science, engineering, Microsoft, wherever you work, you first settle your goal. You design your expectations that this much I have to achieve, this much I want to do or to gain by myself, this much contribution I would love to be rendered by the very team you have hired. Fine. Or what type of quality thing you are going to produce, or some innovation you expect to bring in your product. These are all your expectations. First you have to settle your expectations. If you have not settled your expectations, obviously you will have to shoe into the others people's suggestions and expectations or goals, which may not be up to your taste or may not be up to the demand or nature of problem or the taste of client. Fine. So first make your expectations. Let's read. We have all heard age, no one is perfect. As you can assume, this is also applies to the developers. There are real people behind the process of building your website or app. They may not do it perfectly every time. Means that expectation is this that you should not expect a developer or designer or scientist having all the solutions of your problem. That is not possible in this physical world. The reason is that the physical world is constantly changing. The requirement, things, needs, interests are highly vulnerable and flexible. Fine. Secondly, a person working in its best in the best times may not be able to produce in the 40s. Thereby, the expectations should not be rocked. They should be flexible, time, and should be real based. Fine. Thereby, expectations should be up and down. Second thing is bugs happen. Bugs, you already know that there are little flaws, little inaccuracies that happen in the application owing to some wrong code or wrong adjustments. So that is not a new thing. They happen. Thereby you should not get angry over them. Wherever you assess some bug, you should go over to your development team and notify that thing and ask them to replace it or rectify it. Let's see. Of course, developers don't write bugs into their work on purpose. Trust us, they would have rather written it flawlessly and then work on implementing new stunning features for each release. However, they may miss something. Instead of focusing on placing blame, shift your focus on helping them find a solution. Fine. So it is the point quite clear. Clear? For example, if you find a bug, send them a note on what you have experiencing and how it should be functioning. Keep in mind there is a lot of variables and your user experience might be slightly different depending on your device, web browser, and more. Means that in the scientific physical world, as I have stated quite earlier, that nothing is final. If you have detected some bug in the very device, you should not furiated, get angry or bullying. Just go over, discuss, find out the solution, encourage your team because they have definitely put some efforts to shape the very application into the something where you are able to identify the bugs. Clear UI documentation. Fine. UI documentations, you have, you know that it is user interface is really one of the most important thing. The reason is that all the applications are finally going to be used by the users, not by the designers. Designers are 2, 3, 4 or 100, but users are on the billions. For example, this laptop and this version of Microsoft Office 2007 or 2013, both these things have not been designed by me or neither by you. They have been designed by the Microsoft and the engineers, whereas we are the users. So the documentation, the technicalities should be written in such an easier manner so that we may be able to know it properly. Let's read. The UI is the blueprint of any project. It effectively communicates to your developer team how data should be formatted, where it should be, and the overall flow of the website. A thoughtfully and carefully designed URL make your developers work more comfortable and strengthen your project flow. Means while you are designing your UI, you should keep your user interest level, education, mind, idiosyncrasy clear, and accordingly communicate it to your development team so that the very product should be useful for the people. Uh, Whereas these are some of the different terms that developers use, fine, and you should know these terms clear, like API, backend. Backend, you know that backend functionality is the functioning at the behind the user interface is the backend, clear, and the backend should be very strong so that the user may not be in trouble or there may not be some kind of virus or other things may happen. The backend of a website refers to behind the scene inner working of a website or app or the underhood. If you will, these are the building blocks of project that make it run. Typically, these elements are not visible if you are interacting with the site or app. Front end. Front end actually is the user interface normally and it should be very strong. The front end encapsulates everything that user will see and interact with on your website or app. Front end developers will commonly code with JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. Front end means that whatever appears to the user in front. You have seen this that the user are not always, you may not expect your user to be a computer professional. They simply see the icons. For example, as I'm watching these icons, being an ordinary person, computer, home and insert and page layout and reference and mailing and review and view, fine. Whereas I click home and you see that the bar is open and there are many things. This is the front end. If it is easier, to the point, factual, direct, it means that this machine, this application is user friendly application. Otherwise, if it is a complicated, there are many steps involved and there are many keys to press on, then this won't be a user friendly application, rather than it will put the user into trouble. And you know that many machines, especially the cell phones, in the last 10 years have been failed in the market. For example, the in the middle periods of 2011, 12, roundabout, some cell phones, they used very intricate keypads, very intricate softwares, and resultantly, because the most of the audience was non-technical and they failed to comply with, and thereby the they didn't purchase that very application, very cell phone. For example, just like Apple, hardly the people are able to use Apple because you need a little more intelligence than the common person. Whereas you have seen that the common Android cells, they are more sold in the market just because of their user interface, user friendly and easier manner. Thank you very much. Hope you have understood.